Dr. Chandana Jayawardena, who is Chair of Board of Agric Extension, Senior Student Counselor, and Career Guidance Advisory Board member of University of Peradeniya. We already did the competition based on presentation skills, but we are still in the process of evaluating the assignments. Two groups with the best presentations will gain a chance to get scholarships for courses at SLIM, our educational partner. We have randomly selected two presentations among 18 to discuss today. So, Dr. Chandana is here to tell us tips to follow and mistakes to avoid while making and dispensing the presentations. So, let's see our first presentation.
Hello everyone, we are group number 2. We hope to discuss about music and mental health through this presentation. Here we present information about music and mental health based on these subtopics. Why is music so powerful? Music therapy, health benefit of music, what kind of music is good for mental health, studying and music, negative effect of music. Music is the language of the emotion. For thousands of years, human has been creating songs and symphonies which enthrall, inspire and fascinate. Our history and our culture is closely connected with musical notes. There is no surprise. Music has a profound effect on the human mind. Music helps us relax, it gives us goosebumps, and it encourages us to push ourselves to the limit. Why is music so powerful? Music triggers powerful positive emotions via autobiographical memories. A new neuroscience-based study has identified that if specific music evokes personal memories, these songs have the power to elicit stronger positive emotions than other stimuli, such as looking at nostalgic picture. Also, scientists have proven that music stimulates more part of the brain than any other human function. Our brains are more active as we listen to music. So, there is much potential in music's power to change the brain and affect the way it works. That's why music used as therapy to help people with neurological deficits.
I like to start with the famous quote that says, "Where words fail, music speaks." We listen to music when we are sad, happy, and even when we want to feel the silence in our mind. So we can say music is therapeutic. Music therapy is a therapeutic approach that uses the naturally mood lifting properties of music to help people improve their mental health and overall well being. Music therapy may help people psychologically, emotionally, physically, spiritually, cognitively, and socially. There are four major interventions involved with the music therapy as lyrics analysis, improvisation music playing, active music listening, and songwriting. Music therapy is used to enhance conventional treatment for a variety of illnesses and disease processes from anxiety, depression, and stress to the management of pain and enhancement of functioning after degenerative neurological disorders. While the effect of music on people are not fully understood, studies have shown that when we hear music we like, the brain actually releases a chemical called dopamine that has positive effects on mood. The mental status of a person is directly affects the physical health. So, as this slide illustrates, Music benefits overall health. Music helps to reduce stress and anxiety. It improves immune functioning. Music motivates to exercise more. It enhances blood vessel functioning. It lowers blood pressure and decreases pain. Music improves the quality of sleep and it boosts memory. Music improves the recovery in stroke patients and it helps you to eat less.
There are several types of music which is good for your mental health. The main two types are uptempo and classical music. Let's talk about the effect of uptempo first. By listening to this kind of music, your brain and body will start to move together and also you will amped up and enjoy what's ahead. Researchers tell that tempo of 60 beats per minute increases the efficiency of the brain in processing information. Behalf of that, the classical and ambient music also affect positively to you. It will give you the benefits of mood boosting. Because classical music promotes the release of feel-good neurotransmitters such as dopamine and serotonin, which are capable of improving your mood and also your motivational levels. Then as a result of these neurotransmitters, you can feel more relaxed.
Now I'm going to talk about how often do people listen to music while studying. Actually, I'm used to listen to music while studying. As a percentage, 29 people are used to listen to music while studying, and 14 percentage of people never listen to music while studying. And also 35% and 22% of students are listen to music in sometimes and often respectively. The important thing is, researchers were found that brain capacity of a student, those who are listen to music, are very higher than the others. Now let's move on to the next slide. Here let's talk about the negative effects of listening to the music. First one is hearing loss. If we listen to music at a high volume for long period of time, or if we play loud instrument without protecting our ears, we will likely experience hearing loss issues. The second one is music can be distracting. The third one is music can trigger bad memories. Music can trigger seriously disturbing memories, perhaps connected to an accident or any other scary experience, or milder bad memories, perhaps connected to feeling of shame or emotional inconvenience. The fourth one is noise pollution. Playing unreasonably loud music at any time of day, particularly at night time, can be a major headache for your neighbors and family. The other one is if you are using public transport, everyone got this headache. They don't care about what is the choice of passengers. They always play music in loud volume. The last one is it is very difficult to make money in the music industry. So many people around the world are incredibly passionate about making music. From a business perspective, the industry is heavily oversupplied with artists. For this reason, it can be difficult to gain enough traction in the music industry to make enough money for it to be a part of part-time or full-time job.
These are the references we used in our presentation and we are grouped two way. So at the end of the presentation, we proved that music and mental health has so close relationship. Thank you.
Sir, now the platform is yours to continue the webinar.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. I would like to congratulate the Rotary Club for this program because it really supplement the curricular activities of the university. And usually when we are in a university like University of Peradeniya, the students have a responsibility to get involved in leadership activities, because after all, you are the future of this world. And when you become a leadership brand, something that is very important is how you are able to communicate to an audience. Now, in terms of communicating, it's important that how you convince the audience in appropriate settings. So let me share a few slides with you for educational purposes, and during the discussion, I should also congratulate the students who presented today. They presented very nicely about the effects of music, and it was not only educative but also very interesting. So let me share some of the slides during my relating to the content I want to share with you. So I have been invited to speak about presenting, but let me tell you, making a presentation is part of communication. There is a saying that you cannot not communicate. What it implies is that whether we like or not, there is no escape for us, not only in the world of work, but also in personal life. We are communicating something all the time. Even if we try to escape communication, that also communicates either we are not interested or we lack confidence. So what's best in the given situation is to be prepared and to communicate and to get the best out of it, because communication is one of the best weapons and one of the best tools, and has been identified an important skill that 21st century graduates or professionals should be equipped with. So you know the basics in the communication process. It is that you are saying something, sending a message, and you use different ways to as the channel. It could be speaking, writing, graphics, video, etc. So you code your message, and then it gets decoded, and the receiver understands it. And also it can be two-way communication when the recipient also indicates that the message has been received. Now, for example, in this context, I wanted to make sure whether you can see my slides. So I sent a message, and as I sent that message, I got across the response, yes, it can be seen. Now, in terms of mediums of communication, the most common mediums are verbal and non-verbal. So verbal communication is mostly related to words, but also non-verbal communication, which does not include words, is equally or even more effective. So they include body language, posture, gestures, and eye contact. So it's not what you say, but the way that you say it makes a big impact. And now, for example, in the presentation, which you did very well, we saw that very nice use of words. There were nice pictures, logos, images, and some letters. Everything was there. But one thing that would have been nicer to have would have been to see the presenter. For some reason, we could not see the presenters. So if we could have seen the presenter, that would have increased the impact of the presentation. So please don't underestimate the power of non-verbal communication. Here we are in a pandemic. So we are being limited to digital communication, But in the digital communication also, you can use non-verbal communication very effectively. At this moment, I'm looking at you and I am making that connection with you, not only through other mediums, but also through the eye contact and other gestures, which are all the more important when you make a successful speech or a presentation. In the interest of time, let me take you to what is meant by a presentation. A presentation is mostly a learning situation where new or deeper understanding is developed. Now, for example, a moment ago, I listened to this very nice presentation done by a group of students. They spoke very nicely about the effect of music. I would have loved to see them. Probably next time they will choose to switch on their videos. Now, in that presentation, in a presentation, usually it is a specific. You speak on a specific topics, or you want to give a specific message. Usually the audience is limited. When I say small, this small can be even 300, but they are very much involved or interested in the particular topic. And so they are directly concerned with it. And you provide explicit information. For example, in the presentation, they included very many information about the impact of music and how it continues to increase happiness. They said about dopamine, and they said that how it increases capacity, how it make life interesting, and also when you misuse it or if you have an overdose of it, how it can have negative effects. So all this message is through facts, and through these facts, the sender or the senders persuade the audience intelligently. They persuade the audience intelligently. So this is why political speeches are not presentations. When you make a presentation, it should have credible content. And through that, you persuade the audience intelligently to the desired impact. Now, through that presentation, the presenters had the idea of increasing the usage of music in good ways among the audience. What are the presenters' tasks? The presenters have to engage the audience. So if there had been a little more time, I would have got to involve in certain things, but I'm not going to do it because of time limitation. And you should get the audience enthused, to make them enthusiastic. Sometimes to challenge an existing way of thinking. To support your thinking and to facilitate your thinking. Sometimes through this content that is being developed and that is being presented, you facilitate the thinking of the audience. So this is why presentations are usually very impactful presentations. They are done usually for a limited period of time. And they are done to give a message and to encourage the audiences to behave in a way which is more desirable than it was before convincing them intelligently about the merits and demerits of a particular subject. You have to use visual aids. Now, this is something very, very important. In our presentations, we use visual aids, or sometimes we say presentation aids. Presentation aids can be visual aids, or sometimes it may, if I'm telling you about some object, use of a smartphone, I will be using it, I will be working on it, and you will also see that that is also a presentation aid. The most important thing, presenter, that is you, are the main person. The presentation aids, including visual aids, they are just aids, they are just support. They are not the main thing. So slides are not the main thing, however nicely you do it. That is only supportive. And you are the one who is leading, who is controlling, who is directing, and who is engaging the audience in an enthusiastic manner so that the message is communicated effectively. I thought it is opportune to share a few tips with you. How can you plan effective presentations? How can you plan effective presentations? So I will share with you 4 small tips, or in other words, 4 important components when you make a nice presentation. If I meet you for a longer period of time later, obviously I can share with you some additional information. I have also developed a video on how to make a successful presentation. But at this moment, during the next 15 minutes, I will share with you some important components which will help you to be an effective presenter. The success of a presenter depends on how effectively he or she convinces the audience through the message effectively. So you have to look at 4 components: purpose, audience, a structure, and a style. Now I will introduce you an acronym to remember this. Purpose, P, audience, A, structure, S, style, S. So you can say PASS. So if you apply PASS in developing a message for a presentation, you pass your presentation. Let me elaborate. The first P, it stands for purpose. Why are you doing this presentation? Why should you make this speech? Whenever you make a presentation, there should be a purpose in that. So the purpose is the desired outcome of a communication task or event. That is what you expect to achieve through the presentation. What do you expect to achieve through the presentation? So I am communicating something in a presentation, and I expect the audiences to understand and to change their behavioral patterns accordingly. It can be sometimes to inform, just to give information, sometimes to persuade. At times it can be to request, and sometimes to confirm or build the relationship. My purpose in this small presentation with you is to inform you about how you can tailor your message to make it a successful presentation, and probably to persuade you to use that in your next presentation. I hope you will build some relationship when I give you time to ask questions and in another 10 minutes time. So the purposes can be different And based on that, you have to think actually, but what is best for you. So you have you develop a message in such a way that helps your purpose. The way how you make a presentation in a scientific presentation is different when you do it for a sales presentation. It is still different when you do it for some maybe interactive or some aesthetic presentation. So you have to think, what is the message? What is the purpose of doing this? Based on the purpose, you have to prepare your message. So throughout your presentation, you should use all other things to match your purpose. Second, A. A stands for audience. If I ask you, what are the most important party in a given context, it is not the chief guest, it is not the vice chancellor, it is not the priest, but it is the audience who are listening to you. Now just imagine during this pandemic, you have been given an opportunity to communicate to many audiences because you are connected to digital platforms. So just pay attention to the audience. They are the people, they are your customers at this moment. And you will be successful only if you can satisfy the customers. So audience, that is the most important component in a presentation. It is not the presenter. Presenter will not be anything if the audience is not impressed. Now, don't expect the audience to understand you, but you make some effort to understand the audience's personal factors and differences. So just pay some attention to understand the type of audience that you will be speaking. Now, when I got this invitation a few days ago, I just wanted to know who are the students and other parties who are attending. So then I got some idea about the personal factors of the audience, such as their level of education, their attitude, their interest. Now many of you are on track, so you have that interest. That's great. You know that they have a very good opinion of the world and are open to things and the information needs. In this context, they want to know what makes some presenters or some presentations more effective than others. And then you, as young aspiring leaders, would like to master the art of making a presentation. So you have to respect your customers, your audience, understand about them, and tailor your message in a way that they can understand. You are not making a presentation to show off. You are not going to impress people by putting things and making things very difficult for them and showing off that you are at a different level. No, you will be absolute failures if you try to do that. But you have to make an effort to understand the audience and to speak them in the language that they understand best. Now, I must tell you, our politicians are very good about it. Whatever they say, most of the time, they are not meaningful things, but they know how to speak, how to invoke emotions. It's not a good thing, but that is why they become successful. So you as professional presenters and aspiring leaders try to respect your audience and try to convey a message through which you try to influence them in an intelligent way. They are understanding their personal factors and differences helps them to understand the audience, the message clearer and more effectively. Sometimes you speak to international audiences. Even during this pandemic, I have got the opportunity to speak to them. So language matters. Time differences matter. What is the time difference between these countries? In one such occasion, it was to an Australian audience, and the time difference is 4.5 hours. So if I speak to them at this time, it is closer to their midnight. So you have to adjust your time to match that. And sometimes there are local laws and customs. You have to be very careful when you use certain terms. Certain things can be sensitive. Sometimes when you speak to certain communities also, you have to be very, very clear about it. So we have past two components of pass. One is purpose, second is audience. So then we are left with two S's. But before we go to that, I want you to think again about the nature of the audience, the way how you speak to a professional audience. If you see, most of them are middle-aged professionals. It is different the way how you speak to group of undergraduates. And then if you speak to some people from rural community, then your presentation has to be changed accordingly. Sometimes we have to be gender sensitive as well. If you speak to ladies, then you have to be careful with the terminology. That is why I use the term like not chairman any longer, chairperson. The third S is a structure. Structure means the content. What is the content and the format that you are using? Okay, you have a purpose, you know the audience. Then what is the content that you are having? Now I thought my presentation is about for 25 minutes to 30 minutes, say that. So that I should identify the structure of past, because if I'm going to elaborate more on that, I may run out of time and that will not be good. You have to always respect the time. So in the structure, you have to think of the content and you have to emphasize on certain important things in your message. And you have to give that in a particular order and a format which is most suitable to achieve the purpose, the desired effect from the audience. If you are going to speak about the deforestation, you have to emphasize on certain things like why it is forests are important, what are the benefits of it, and then also you have to emphasize what if it does not. So the structure should be relevant and important. Based on the message, the structure changes. The way how you have a scientific presentation is different. The way how you structure a marketing presentation. The choice of words are different. If you speak to a particular religious group, the choice of words are different. Grouping of ideas into logical chunks. You have to group the ideas in such a way that they go as logical chunks. There are some very successful lines that you can see. And when you use those terms, it should be very clear to the audience to understand. You can see marketers doing this really, really well, because they are spending a lot of money for their presentations, and so they make it count. Just think, even advertisements. When they make advertisements, they put these particular terms, and they put some music and something into that. They become very successful. So when you present something, when you are making a presentation, be clear about the grouping of ideas into logical chunks. So chunks means combination of words, and this combination of words should be developed according to a particular pattern. That is why we say logical chunks. Now, ordering of chunks to desired effects. So the order that you put these groups of words has to be planned in such a way that it facilitates achieving the desired effect. And it should shape, or it should pattern the argument as a whole. So if we are going to speak about something, why Sri Lanka will suffer if we stop inorganic fertilizer 100%, then you have to say it in the particular order. You have to say the good things about organic fertilizer. You also have to say why inorganic fertilizer has been of use, and then you have to say that why it is not possible to go into organic fertilizer 100% immediately. And then you have to use a message like how it has an effect on food security, whether the country people will suffer from food, lack of shortage of food, and then you have to bring home the argument. This is done in the structure. Sometimes even when you communicate bad news, you have to say what is the opening of your message and what are the components, where you support, and what are the additional material to be included, and how you close it. So opening and closing are very important, and in between you have message, components, and they add to the message. Finally, it is about the style. Yeah, we all like a style. Even in a scientific presentation, you can have a little bit of style. The way how you plan your message. You should not be just doing the same way. There should be variety. There should be differences in your tone. Maybe you speak high pitch and you slow down. You keep on talking about something, why it is important, and you make a pause. So you should plan the style of your message accordingly. So style is mostly with the choice of vocabulary, the sentence structure, the visual elements, the elements that you use in the visual aids, the tone of voice to achieve the desired effect. So I'm in the last minute of my allocated time. And to show you, I would like to show you the impact of especially these four through an advertisement which has been on air more than 10 years ago. Here, the purpose is to promote a particular product. The audience, general public, or you can say middle class people. The structure, you can see the words that they have been, how they have structured the small video presentation. And a style, you can see the visuals, the tone, the voice, and all that. So it will take It's about less than a minute. As I finish within my minute, and you will see all four in this fairly old advertisement. Just watch it.
අපේ කට්ටිය සෙට් වෙලා. අපේ කට්ටිය සෙට් වෙලා. ස්ටෙලාද? පොඩකින්ද? ස්ටෙලා? ස්ටෙලා නෙමෙයි. කට්ටිය සෙට් වෙලා කියලා කිව්වේ.
ඇයි සිරිවරත්න මහත්තයා?
පත්තරේ පොඩක් ඉල්ල ගන්න.
ෆෝන් එකක් තිබ්බනම් ඔහොම වෙන්නේ නෑනේ. දැන් 9990කට බෙල්ටෙල් පෙරගෙවුම් සමතතාවයක් ඔබත් අදම ලබා ගන්න. ලංකාබෙල් කතා කරමු ඉදිරි කරමු.
රැස්වීමක්.
So I have come to the end of my presentation, and I would be happy to answer if there are any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable ideas with us. I would like to invite you all to fill out the feedback form that is now shared on the chat. So within the past hour, our participants have been sending questions one after another. As the time restricts, we will be answering few selected questions that has been asked the most. So sir, the first question is, what would you do if you noticed that your audience looked bored during a meeting?
Yeah, the thing is that you have to do homework. That is, you have to pay enough attention to know not only about your audience, but also about the environment in which you are communicating with them. So if you feel that your audience is bored, the best thing that you can do is that you can ask them for feedback, or you can get them involved in some interactive activity, because probably they may be bored, that they could not understand what you are saying, or that they feel that it's very monotonous by just listening to you. I will tell you something. When you make presentations, don't make them very low. Don't try to fall in love with the sound of your own voice. It's very important to structure them properly and to get the involvement of the audience whenever possible. So unfortunately, if you have not done that, if you see the audience is bored, probably you can get them to get feedback about something you have shared, so that you can get them involved. And also you can think of ways of getting them involved. Even in online presentations, you can use virtual rooms effectively, so that you can get them interactive. And when you get them involved, there is no room for boredom.
Thank you, sir. So now I would move to the second question. How do we stop being nervous during the presentation?
Yeah, being nervous, the presentation is really good, because it is that your body is preparing yourself for a special occasion. I still can remember myself, probably even as an undergraduate maybe, that I can see this heart is pounding, and the fingers a little colder than usual. So when you feel nervous, just think, okay, that is a special mechanism of the body to reserve your energy, and imagine that you are preparing for a special occasion. At that moment, what you have to do is, to avoid being nervous, you just think about the outcome. What will I get by doing this program? Just imagine there's so many people that you can touch. Now, for example, even this presentation I did at a very short notice. But I thought two reasons. One thing, as academics, we always have a duty to support students and progressive student societies. Number two, I thought, wow, I would be able to get, be able to touch many undergraduates, to interact with them, to make at least an impact for a few minutes. So think about it positively. When you think about the positive side of it, it highly it highly overweight any negativities or any nervousness. So that excitement is so powerful that you would tend to love it. And naturally, when you start to like something, you tend to enjoy it. And when you enjoy something, you are very good, or you become naturally successful. So try that. Look at it in a positive way. And if by any chance, if you fail or if you could not do up to expectation in a presentation, make it count. Okay, I'm going to do better next time. So there are a few other techniques, but these are the basic ones I can share with you.
Okay, so now then I'll move to the next question. How do we maintain our body gestures and facial expressions during the presentation?
One thing that what you can do is now you are in a very good position because you have this Zoom technology. Even students have it for 40 minutes. So you can try different things. What we did during our time was that we practice in front of a mirror, but it was a little artificial. What you can do is you switch on the video and you do different things that you think will be appropriate in a given situation. And also you can record it. And then after that you can see it, so you can get first-hand feedback. Also try to get feedback of supportive people. They will also tell you few things that may make it more interesting. Always have a good confidence about yourself. That is very, very important. Sometimes you may find people, odd people, who will give the odd feedback just to reduce your confidence. Don't think about it. Just have self-belief and get feedback from supportive people. And the best feedback you can get it is you record it and you see how we are doing. And naturally you can move on. There is no substitute for rehearsing. When you rehearse, when you practice, naturally you become really good. The most successful, most effective presenters and speakers in this world are not born, but they are made. They have come through a lot of practice. You may have heard about the speech made by Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he said about how he struggled with his Austrian accent, because he's an Austrian. And actually that accent later became one of the trademarks of him. So don't feel nervous. Just keep on practicing. You will come to the way. And also don't try to imitate any person. Try to be natural. Yes.
So then I'll move to the last question. Can we add animations to our presentation slides?
Yes, you can add animations to your presentation slides. The animations are also available to break the monotony, but don't overdo it. Sometimes I have seen people doing animations and where the slide is going here around and all that. Sometimes the audience is fearful whether it will fall down on them. So they try to do different types of animations. Don't overdo it. Do it in moderate way, and don't do animations for the sake of doing it. If you want to explain a process of something, you do animations. That will help. You would have seen even in my presentation, very small one, I have done very simple animations, point by point it appears. So yes, you can use animations, but it should be meaningful, and it should not be overdone, overused as well.
Thank you so much, sir. So we've come to the end of today's session. I believe this webinar was very valuable to each and every one of our enthusiastic participants, including myself. I would again like to invite you all to fill out the feedback form that is now shared on the chat. If you are a course participant, please make sure to fill the attendance form as well. Sir, we wouldn't have found a better person than you to educate us on this matter. We are beyond grateful for your presence despite of your busy schedule. I would also like to thank the Career Guidance Unit of University of Peradeniya for the immense support. And also, I would appreciate the contribution of our bronze partner, SLIC, educational partner, SLIM, and inspirational partner, Silex Engineering Private Limited. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants who were there with us today. That concludes our webinar session, and I would like to wish our enrolled participants all the best with the future task. Stay safe, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. All the best to Rotaract Club. Keep doing the good things. Good luck.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.